In the previous video, I told you how Sparta ended up having two kings ruling at the same time. Now, at the time when Darius was the king of Persia, the two kings of Sparta were Cleomenes and Demaratus. They came from the two families. Cleomenes came from the family of Aristones, and Demaratus came from the family of Proclus. But they were great grandchildren of the first king. So something happened. Darius did something that led to there always had been like a struggle between the two kings, but there's something that Darius did that made the two kings to fight and to start trying to ruin each other. And indeed, at the end, both of them were ruined because of that fight that started because of what Darius did. And this is what Darius did. At some point, Darius felt like the Greeks were, he had really conquered much of Greece, but he felt like the Greeks were not obedient enough, and he suspected that they were planning to revolt again, and he decided to test them. So what he did, he sent out a message to every Greek city-state, and not only Greek city-states, but other tribes that lived nearby the Asia and Europe side of the Aegean Sea, and he asked them to send him, Herodotus calls it earth and water, which was basically like symbolically telling the king of Persia that we surrender to you. So he sends out this message, and most cities sent earth and water, basically sending a message back that, yeah, we are under your rule, we recognize you as our overlord, basically. But then Sparta and Athens did not. And then there was a city known as Aegina. Aegina did, and Aegina was like very close to Sparta and Athens. And when Athens and Sparta found out that Aegina had sent earth and water to Darius, they were angry. And so Athens sends a message to Sparta, to Cleomenes, telling him the people from Aegina needs to be punished because of they are betraying us. They are doing what they shouldn't be doing. So Cleomenes, who is one of the rulers of Sparta, decides to go himself to Aegina. He goes to Aegina and he wants to go there and arrest the people who made the decision to send Darius earth and water. So he goes there, he's trying to arrest people, and the people challenge him. There's one particular guy who tells him, you are not going to arrest anyone here. It's because you don't have the mandate to arrest anyone here. And they tell him the only way you can have the mandate to come here and arrest anyone, we know that Sparta has two kings, and you came by yourself, you are one. So if you come as two kings, then we will obey and we will let you arrest whoever you want to arrest. So Cleomenes goes back. He's trying to persuade Demaratus, but Demaratus is not, he does not want to go that way. He's not interested. Now, at that point, Cleomenes decides he is going to remove Demaratus from power and replace him with another guy who is from his family, from Demaratus' family, a guy known as Leachiditis. And now he puts a plan in place, and he decides he's going to attack the paternity of Demaratus. And there is something that happened before Demaratus was born. A very interesting story to tell. So before Demaratus was born, his father, Ariston, who was the king, of course, Ariston had married two wives, and neither of them had given birth. So he was childless, he was growing old, and then he decided he was going to get a third wife. And now the way he got the third wife, he tricked one of his friends, and he told the friend, we're very close friends, okay, here is what happened before that. There is this friend of his, they were very close, and this friend of his had a wife, and the wife was very beautiful. Herodotus tells a long story that as a child, the wife was very ugly, but then she was taken to the temple, and then some old woman said she was going to be the most beautiful woman in Sparta. Indeed, she became very beautiful. As an older lady, she was the most beautiful woman in Sparta. So she's married to a friend of Ariston, and Ariston starts liking this woman. He wants this woman for himself. And he tricks the husband into telling him, we are very good friends and I want us to give each other gifts. And he tells him, we're going to take an oath, and then after that, you ask me whatever you want, I give you. I ask you whatever you want, you ask me whatever I want from you, you give me. So they take an oath. Then the other guy says, okay, give me this. Herodotus doesn't tell us what he was given, but he says he was given whatever he asked for. Now it was the turn of Ariston, the king. And the king told him, I want your wife. And the other guy was distraught, but he didn't have an option. He had taken an oath and he let the wife go. So the wife goes to become the new wife of the king. And a few months later, she gives birth. And the message comes to the king while he's sitting in a council of maybe representatives of the people or elders or whatever. And the messenger comes and tells the king, oh king, your wife had just given birth to a baby boy. And the king starts counting the months. And the king is like, the boy cannot be my son. And but later on, he walked back his pronouncement, and he started handling. He named the boy Demaratus, and he loved him, and he brought him up as the heir. And when Ariston died, he became the king. And that's what Cleomenes was going to use against him. He brings a charge against him that he was not a legitimate son of Ariston. And he brings it to a council, it's discussed, and then the people decide, now, let's send a message to the oracle to ask, for the oracle to tell us whether indeed this guy was the legitimate son of Ariston. Before the message is sent to the oracle, Cleomenes sends somebody to go and bribe the oracle, and the oracle is bribed. And when the messengers arrive there to ask about the legitimacy of Demaratus, they are given the message that Cleomenes wanted, and they were told he was not the son of Ariston. So based on that, Demaratus is removed from power, and the other guy, who is a relative of his, is put in his place as the new king. Now this new king starts working with Cleomenes. They go to Aegina, they arrest people. Now Cleomenes is able to do everything he wanted to do because this other guy just says yes to everything that he tells him. But later on, after they have arrested those guys for accepting to give Darius whatever, and then they took them to Athens and had them put in jail there, and they came back to Sparta. Now, but later on, Herodotus tells us that this other guy who took the place of Demaratus was found. He was bribed, and he was caught red-handed being bribed by another city they were fighting, so that he lets them win, and he was chased out of Sparta. Later on, Cleomenes himself was discovered. His plans on whatever he did to Demaratus was discovered, him going and bribing the oracle. He was also chased away, but he was later on brought back. But by the time he was coming back, he was not mentally very okay, and they put him in jail, and he killed himself. Yeah, so that's how Darius made the Spartans to start questioning the paternity of one of their kings.